Good afternoon, welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Underground. I'm starting here today at Hounslow West Station, which is not the start of this walk. Today I'm doing a walk from Heathrow Terminal 5, going over to Staines. It's one of the longer walks out of this book, Beyond the End of the Line by Geoff Lock, which is why Kerry's not with me today. She's not such a fan of the longer walks. I didn't fancy much trying to film a piece of the camera in Heathrow Terminal 5 without being chucked out, but I'm going to get on a train here, 2 or 3 stops up the line, and then we'll start the walk in Heathrow Terminal 5.
Line service to Heathrow Terminals 2 and 3 and Terminal 5.
Stand with your back to the International Arrivals Gate, facing the coffee shop in the centre of the Arrivals Hall, operated turn right of Costa Coffee. Turn right, where I've just come from. Turn right and walk towards the far end of the hall. After 100 metres, you pass the glass-covered lifts on your left. Turn left here under suspended yellow sign saying exit buses, car rental taxis. You leave the terminal building to enter a covered area used by buses and cars. It's some glass-covered lifts. Going out this way. Ooh, fountain. Walk ahead, using the clearly marked pedestrian crossings across a series of vehicle lanes. Continue in the same direction to leave the covered area between parked cars. Maybe a bit further up this way, I think. Do not cross the road ahead of you, Widgeon Way. Widgeon Way? Widgeon Road. I'll assume that's this one. Turn right and walk along the side of the road, making your way past flower beds and motorcycle parking bays. Yep, flower beds and motorcycle parking bays. The Aurora building is on the opposite side of the road on your left. Ahead you can see a concrete overpass, yes. carries vehicles to the first floor departures level of Terminal 5. Go under this and continue ahead to reach the Airport Perimeter Road. Probably where that woman is. Sorry about all the shaky footage at this point. I'm not using my stabiliser because I don't want to draw attention to myself and get kicked out. These little pod things. Pod monorail. So to continue along the airport perimeter on the wide right hand path. Go back under the little pod monorail. Any pedestrians beyond this point, luckily the instructions say to cross over here. Leave the airport. I just realised I've got normal traffic lights rather than pedestrian lights. Oh, for bikes. It's one of many waterways around airports. There's some important thing about waterways. I don't know, I think it's sort of, well, partly they were probably here first because it was nice flat land they built the airport on, but I think they're also kept as reserved firefighting areas. Okay, I'm not going that way. No pedestrians. Where am I supposed to go then? That bridge is my own way out from here, so I'm going to ignore that sign and go this way anyway, because I have nothing else I can do. Over the roundabout. Go left. There we go, a footpath. There you go, Heathrow. You need to do something about how pedestrians are supposed to get out of there. If we cross the A3044 Stanwell Moor Road, the aim is to reach the Bath Path on the opposite side of the roundabout, signpost Colebrook and Pyle. Right, back to delicious stabilised footage. There's not a lot going on out here, right next to an airport, as you'd sort of expect. It's a little bit wastelandy, which is probably good for nature. But there are various places you see little clues, apart from the sound, of the all the stuff going on here. There's gas installations, pipeline measuring points, runway lights, all that sort of thing. Lovely nature. Fuel depot, or maybe gas depot or water treatment, or who knows. I'll get down to the entrance and see what the sign says. The next instruction is that shortly after a bus stop, turn left through a gate into the Colne River Valley. I don't think it's that gate. I think it's this gate covered in signs over here. Heathrow Biodiversity Site, Colne Valley. We're going back into the airport. I'm a little bit confused now, because looking at the map in the book, it shows just here. It's really difficult to do this and hold the camera. It shows just here. Turn in off the road, go straight along, and turn left. Now what I've done is I've followed this path, this road here, because there wasn't an obvious path straight across. I don't want to get as far as the road that's over there, so I need to turn left at some point because we're going that way, and then right at the river. Now, that looks like that could be a path along there, but not really. This is definitely locked off. Grazing area, Orchard Farm. So I'm slightly confused where I want to be. I might go and look a little way down here, but then I'm probably going to have to walk back on myself. And we'll see where I think I should be. So I'm not really sure. Looking on Google Maps, which has no imagery because I put my phone in aircraft mode to save battery, but it does look like just up ahead here where I'm going there is a left that then goes down along the river, so we'll take that. The river down there somewhere. It's the road where I was previously. I think there is a river down there somewhere. I wonder where they're going. Whoop, into the cloud. So this is a spur road off the M25 to give access into the airport, the M25 being the London Orbital car park. Oh, sorry, London Orbital motorway. And under here we may actually get a glimpse of the river we're following, which I haven't actually seen yet. Yay, there it is. I think the River Colne. I'll have to relook at the map. It's windy under here. Pass beneath a major road, done, and go left through a gate to continue alongside the river on a track through a field. In the blurb for this walk, Jeff mentioned that he wasn't sure he'd be able to necessarily find a walk from Heathrow because, I mean, rightly so, you don't expect there to be much countryside around an airport. But actually, I'm not personally that surprised because actually one of the very first videos I made with the express intention of just publishing it to YouTube was a walk around Gatwick Airport. I'd seen on a map a footpath that had been cut off by the runways at Gatwick, and thought it'd be interesting to go have a look. And actually it's relatively similar to this walk. You end up walking out of the airport along some slightly dodgy feeling roads, and then you end up in a bit of open countryside alongside a river that goes around the edge of the airport. So it seems to be a thing. I think they sort of are required to create biodiversity areas around airports when they take a load of farmland and concrete it over, which is good. Where'd that go? Nowhere. Looks like the gate got a bit vandalised there. This is a depressing area. bit slippery under here. Probably have to be skinny to get through here. Lovely. Isn't the countryside beautiful? Well, that wasn't very friendly, was it? I think I'm going left on this road, but I've forgotten. Hello. Got a nice riverside field there, haven't you? This is the mill, Heathrow. That looks like it could be a hotel or a pub. It's offices, warehouses and storage. It's very pretty offices, warehouses and storage. There's an interesting variety of volumes of planes as they go over. The big ones that take off slowly make an absolutely huge amount of noise. Like that. Because by this point they're not all that high. But the smaller ones that are probably just hopping over to Europe can gain height faster and are probably quieter in general, so they make much less noise. These are nice, apart from the noise. that loud. I didn't turn the volume up there. This is not a particularly interesting part of the walk, but it's interesting to me because I get the same sort of thing when planning my slow TV walks. There's interesting things around, and you can link together two interesting areas, but occasionally there is sort of a boring bit of residential walking in the middle, so I appreciate this. It's nice and easy, just follow the road, and then we'll get back to something interesting in a bit. Oh, this isn't a driveway. I thought this was a driveway. This is where we're going. Now, these intrigue me every time I walk past them. These are essentially above ground reservoirs. And you would think you would have thought I would have looked up the name of them before getting here, but I'm guessing King George Reservoir, possibly. But they have sheep living in there to keep the grass down, which is nice. And we're just going to walk around the edge of them in this direction. I haven't brought my drone with me because I figured being near an airport I probably wouldn't be able to fly it anyway. So this is a Google Earth view of these reservoirs, hopefully with a marker of where I am to give a sense of scale. I'm guessing what they probably did with these reservoirs is that they did dig down some distance, and everything they dug out they then piled up at the sides to allow them to fill the reservoir beyond ground level. It's just a shame we can't walk along top of the reservoir, but I can see why they've done that. Aha! This is the next instruction. The metal kissing gate, which is apparently pointless. But there you go. Oh, this is a little more pleasant fence to walk along than that massive, great big metal thing. It's really awkward to traverse because your instinct is to reach out for the fence on the left, but that's barbed wire. Ooh, some wetland. Look. Someone's put some logs down in an attempt to make it a little bit easier to get across. That's a bit easier. Stainsmoor. This is pretty. Buttercup lined path. And there's the reservoirs in front of us. I'm not entirely certain where I am in relation to anything apart from I know the airport's that way. So if you're equally as lost, don't forget that there is an interactive map linked in the description where you can see the route I took as a line, and you can click along that line to jump to the nearest bit of video, or you can jump through the video and see the marker move along the line. Yeah. Left hand edge of the river, which is over there. Left edge, right hand edge of the river. Walking along this lovely buttercup lined path would make a lovely drone shot. So if you'd like me to be able to afford a nice 4K drone, subscribe, get all your friends to subscribe, get all your colleagues to subscribe, get all your family to subscribe, then I can start making some money off these videos. I can afford to buy a nice fancy 4K drone. Ooh, we've got daisies now as well. This area is vast. In fact, we're far enough away from the airport now that you can hardly hear that plane at all. And I think for the first time on the countryside leg of this journey, I've actually seen some other people. There's another bridge here, but we're not going that way. We're heading for that underpass over there where they've come through. It's actually some pretty good art, apart from the monocle on the fox. Going from those wide open spaces on the moor, it's only a bit hemmed in. here the footpath goes off in that direction. We're going to be going that way. I just want to see what this signpost is. Two River Shopping Centre, the one we're going for, is labelled. That's one of those gates that's meant to be mounted so it swings open in two directions and always closes itself, but it's not on the correct mount, so it's just a wonky gate. Oh. All clear. Back to the river. When it said cross the railway line in the book, I didn't think it meant a level crossing. On this side we've got the river, housing, there's people having a street party for the coronation, which was yesterday. Lovely. And then on this side we have massive, great big brick superstores. Masses of them. That's progress, I suppose. Definitely art. Oh, it looks like some Waterways machinery from a weir or something like we've just seen. It's under here. Tell me? Finally. Doesn't look like there's much of a path along the edge of the river, so we'll go through town. There's a funky building. I don't know where the river's gone. It's over there among the trees. Found it again. And lost it again. That was quite high in the past then. 1947 it got up to 8 feet up to the top of that. Town hall. It's a good job we don't have jaywalking laws in the UK. I'm just wondering now, because I've lost the river and the instructions just to follow the river down to the Thames. I probably should look at the map. But it feels like the right sort of direction. There you go, impeccable sense of direction. Staines upon Thames. Oh, sorry, Staines upon Thames. It has that Sean Bean problem. Sean Bean. That little river we were following was the Wraysbury, which is a tributary of the Colne. And they both join somewhere in the town, probably under a building. And then just up here, they flow into the Thames. In fact, I would reckon it's there. There's an outflow. There we are, the River Colne on this side. Going quite fast now. Going to the River Thames. On this side. What is that? Oh, it's a heron. Well, as I sit here at the end of the River Colne, where it joins the Thames, this walk ends at Staines Bridge, just behind me here. It does give instructions if you want to continue and get to Staines Station to get home. You can go just a bit further that way along the river to the railway bridge that I can see just in front of me, and then follow it up to the station. If you watched this far, thank you very much. If you liked it, I would like to consider subscribing. I'll be very grateful. I will make some more walks out of this book in the future. Some on my own devised walks, some more slow TV. And if you've got any other suggestions for things you'd like to see, put them in the comments. So thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful afternoon.